Okay, I've got a question. What do a big city news anchor, his number one child fan, and the company Thrivant have in common?
Somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in Hallmark Channel's 2025 new Christmas movie, Tidings for the season, and we have a lot to talk about, y'all.
We do, Jennifer. And Carly, yes, a special guest on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Well, if you've been with us for any period of time, you know we love a good local news trope. And local news is front and center in this new movie out on the Hallmark Channel. And we thought to ourselves, Jennifer and I did, who do we know? Who do we know that could give us some deep, deep insight? And it's friend of the podcast, Carly. Because, dear listener, you may not know this, but Carly, well, and me, we are both retired from the field of local news. So we had to have Carly on to talk about this one. Thank you for coming back to the podcast, Carly.
Pinch me, I'm dreaming. Oh my goodness. Like, once was a dream come true. Y'all had me back. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
We had to. We had no choice. Now, Josh, is this the first time that you're admitting on the podcast? Is this breaking news that you have a news background?
I think it's fair to say this is the first time. You know, I've always sort of tap danced around my history as a local news guy. I think I've said not that I would have any intimate knowledge of such things more than a handful of times, but yes, in fact, I do have a resume that does have a fair amount of local news experience. And so it just makes sense to have Carly and me together talking about this particular movie. Let's see here.
And can I just say that Josh was so good at his job in the news world. In fact, he could do everyone's job in the news world. So if ever there was an expert for this flick, it's him.
Well, that's very
His
generous
news background really tethers our podcasts. We were like we were baby podcasters. We were just talking about it, and he's like, I've done a rundown template. And I was like, oh, but what? I thought we would just jabber jaw. I didn't know what a rundown was. Yeah, it sounded violent, and I wasn't excited about that. So it's just very, and now I use it in my day-to-day dialect. Well, maybe not day-to-day, but every now and then. And so I feel very in the know. And the first movie we ever covered had a news bit. The new local news was covering
news.
What was it?
News,
the gingerbread, and it was called
yes.
News. And so that's, if you're new here and you hear us say news, that's kind of a play on that and Josh and Carly's background. So if we could put a ticker at the bottom that says news, or breaking news.
Oh, I'll work on that for the edit. Yes, let's do it.
I wouldn't hate it. Okay.
All right, so here is the plot summary.
Oh, go ahead.
You got it? Go for it, Jennifer.
Okay. A serious TV newscaster's life changes when he meets his young superfan and the boy's hardworking single mom. As he embraces positive holiday stories, romance blooms, but a career opportunity forces him to choose between ambition and love. Let's go.
Okay, so dear listener, what you need to know is that Jennifer and I have the best of intentions to keep this organized, professional, on the rails. But y'all, life is lifing this week and we got our wires crossed. So we're just going to have to cobble together as best as we can the plot synopsis for this particular movie. So we open, Jennifer, I think we're in Minneapolis, right?
Oh, I don't know. No. Here's what the real tea is. This was supposed to be my movie to lead. And I made a color-coded spreadsheet, y'all. I made the spreadsheet. I looked at the spreadsheet and still took nary a note because I thought I was covering the other movie that we're talking about this week. And turns out Josh is too. So we don't have our typical notes. Apologies in advance. Don't know where we're at. But we are with Tamera Mowry-Housley.
Mid-sized city, yes.
This precious little 10-year-old boy named Robbie, who is like big time, big ambitious, wears a suit. I'm surprised he doesn't get beat up at school. He wants to be a news anchor, and that is his dream. And I think it's really precious but is it realistic? Like, not to that he wants to be a news anchor, but that he's full suit and tie, profesh, like basically working on his LinkedIn profile as a 10-year-old. I worry about Robbie. And do you have lockers as a 10-year-old to get shoved into? This is my question.
I understand. So let's go to our local news expert, Carley. Tell us, when you decided you wanted to be in the news business, how old were you, and were you as obsessed as Robbie?
8th grade. I knew, and I felt very lucky to know that young, because then you can like follow, there's so many kids who don't know what they want to do until later. But yeah, 8th grade for me, I wasn't wearing my solid colored news dresses with the jewel tone, talking in my news voice all the time. I wasn't that weird, but I had a vision.
So
You?
true story. I grew up in the era when camcorders started to be a thing. Remember that? That was like the early 90s, and only a few people had camcorders, right? And so in the summer, I had a friend named Daniel, and I would ride my bike over to his house because his family had a camcorder, and we would produce what we called the -2 news, which is we did our own little neighborhood newscast. And so I knew at probably 12 years old that I was going to be in local news. Yeah. So, but Robbie
And
was
you didn't
all
get
in
shoved
on
in any
local news.
lockers?
Never. No. We actually,
Okay.
in high
Okay.
school, in high school, we had a little high school newscast. I can remember I did an internship at our local TV station when I was in the, I think, 5th grade. So, yeah, it all started kind of early. But Robbie is full tilt enthusiastic about being in local news. And so they get to go off to the local news station there. News, exactly. And he's so geeked out for this field trip. His teacher has obviously heard about Robbie's love of broadcast journalism plenty of times. And everyone in his class obviously knows that this is what he's destined to do, right?
Yes, and they are very supportive. Everybody's very excited. And so Adam, played by BJ Britt, who we love, he is so charming, so charismatic. So happy to see him in a leading role this season. He is the leading news anchor of News. But he's not like super interested in like being hunky dory with the kids on the field trip. He's there to do his business and his work. News is serious business, as you all know. So he might be around when they come through, but he's not going to like make a big production of it. Well, the kids come through and Robbie makes a beeline and boop, pops up. Before you know it, he's sitting next to BJ Britt, aka Adam, at the news anchor desk. He's ready. He's ready for his big moment. I don't know. I feel like the chaperones probably could have reined him in a little bit more, but that's okay. Goes into it with Adam and is like, hey, my mom doesn't watch the news because she always turns it off. It's too sad. You need to like talk about some good stories too. And this is a light bulb moment that Adam has never heard of before. What? How could we possibly feature a good news story on a local news program? Now I'm going to go to my local correspondents here, Josh and Carley. When you were in news, did you ever report on local good news and happenings? Because I feel like I see it a lot on the local news. There's always a horse that's rescued from some danger, or a nonprofit, or some cats out of a tree because of a local Good Samaritan. But tell me, what's your experience? Is this a new idea for you all to have good news on the news?
Josh, you go first.
Well, I think, Jennifer, I honestly think that most newsrooms are trying to do a balance thing, right? They're trying to cover the news of the day, but they also realize it can't all be doom and gloom. And so to that end, I think this movie is a little bit overly simplistic. And granted, it's a Hallmark movie. It's not going to be a a documentary on the state of local news in America. But at the same time, this producer that he has, I forget the producer's name, but he's supposed to be the boss, right? The guy who's sort of setting the tone for what the station's going to do. And he says, we've really got to do what we can to keep the audience, and the audience doesn't want to see good news. And by and large, I don't know how you feel, Carly, but I tend to agree. I don't know that good news stories really attract a local news audience these days. What do you think?
Yeah, so it's the problem because, of course, We've heard it a bajillion times, you should tell good news, but the problem is good news doesn't do well in the ratings. And so, yes, my favorite days at news were the days that I got to tell a positive story, but unfortunately people say they want one thing, but that's not always what they want. But Josh, watching this newscast, I was like, I cannot wait to hear what Josh thinks about the production value of this newscast. Like, is it taped? Are we live? And can this man get a VO or a SOT, please?
I know.
Like,
honestly.
I don't know what that means. What's a VO and a voiceover?
It was
VO
and voiceover.
Yes.
And
What's a SOT?
Is sound on tape. A SOT is sound on tape. So when they interview someone and you see a little sound bite, that's called a SOT.
But this is supposed to be a mid-level city, and this man is just reading in front of a blue screen. And I'm like, Josh Devine is not going to have this at all. And for all those people running around in that studio, somebody could have done better.
Well, I knew that this representation of local news was going to be off when this anchor had a makeup artist. No one in local news has a makeup artist.
Where was my makeup artist?
They all do their own? Everybody does their own?
Yes.
I thought somebody would come through
driving to work in the car in the mirror.
Oh, man, I really pictured a big powder puff person at least. Oh, y'all are just ruining
and what you need to know,
all my hopes and dreams.
One of my favorite things about Carley is that she had the filthiest makeup bag you have ever seen in the history of cosmetics. Like, literally. So
Josh
bad.
would sit over my cubicle and he would just be like, it was like a train wreck he couldn't walk away from. I'm like, can I help
so
you?
Bad. So bad that a couple years back.
She just used it a lot. You used it a lot. It's fine.
She did. It's
hard working. Yeah.
So bad that a couple years back, I went ahead and bought her a caboodle because I figured she just needed a redo. And
that caboodles
are great. You can just wipe them down too. Yeah. It's a very caboodle Christmas.
We digress.
This is the most well-staffed news operation to be producing such a low production quality newscast. It's clear, I'm just saying, Hallmark, if you ever really want to have a realistic portrayal of what local news looks like, just give us a call because we know a few things. We've been around the block once or twice, right?
That's right.
I did think the lead anchor, he was well cast. Like, he did a good job of acting like a news anchor. For sure.
Yeah, BJ Britt absolutely pulls it off as a news anchor in this. And so he's sort of left with this whole quandary about good news versus what he's been used to, because, of course, he has some career aspirations, right, ladies? He wants to keep climbing the ladder, wants to keep working on his craft. He's got this mentor who is, we presume, the predecessor here at News, used to be the anchor there. Yeah. She's a college professor now in town, and she hears through the grapevine that there's about to be a main anchor opening in the big city of Chicago, and this is his chance. So he's got something potentially on the horizon, and all of a sudden he's thinking about his career trajectory, and he's also now met this kid. Now the kid, again, his name is Robbie. Robbie really does a good job of winning over the News team. And before you know it, the news managers are like, hey, Robbie, why don't you come back for a week-long internship after school and just hang out with us and learn more about local news, which I can all but guarantee you would never happen in a local newsroom.
And also
especially
the person
a 10-year-old.
Right? And the person who covers all the bad stories and thinks like negatively about everybody, I'm like, why are you so interested in this little boy? I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's giving weird vibes. Yeah. And so his mom, of course, her name is Lucy, and that is Tamera Mowry-Housley. Love her. By the way, I don't know, Jennifer, if you've watched any of the new baking series that she's hosting. It's really good. I'm a fan.
Oh, I want you to do like a little clip that we can post on socials about your initial thoughts on that too. Is it over yet, or is it's still going on, right?
It's still going on. New episodes drop every week, and I just think it's a really well done show. I was worried about a competition show like that from them, but they're doing a great job, and I like it. So anyway, she plays
Lucy. Shout out
Tamera
Mowry-Housley. Yeah.
Come on, yeah. And she plays a hairdresser in this, which I think is really kind of fun because she has some good friends at the salon who, coach her and support her. She's also a divorcee, so she's kind of doing this thing romantically where she's pushed pause on all of her romantic endeavors because her focus, rightfully so, is on her son. I liked her in this role.
I did too. It kind of bums me out because I've seen her in this role before. Like last year we talked about scouting for Christmas and she was the single mom of a Girl Scout. In 2022, she was a single mom of a little boy for inventing the Christmas Prince. Like maybe she enjoys this role, either that or they're severely typecasting her. Like if it's her choice, fine, she's great at it. I love her, but I worry that we're just kind of pigeonholing her. That's probably not proper English, but because I prefer Tamera Mowry-Housley when she can be funny. Like in the Santa Stakeout in 2021 with Paul Campbell, she was hilarious. So that's more of my vibe. But yes, I'm always happy to see her, and I was happy to see her with BJ Britt specifically. So here we are.
So the internship starts, and Robbie's going after school, presumably to spend the evening hours with Adam to learn more about the craft of local news. And things seem to be initially a little bit just kind of, we're going through the motions, right? Adam isn't necessarily so sold on the idea, all of that. But things quickly kind of take a turn here, right?
Yeah, he really starts to take to this kid and is learning so much from him. So they're really helping each other, I guess. I feel like they kind of yada-yada'd the internship. Like there was a lot of build-up and is Lucy the mom okay with this? That's a big change in his schedule. And then we just kind of poof, then the internship's over. Carly has a question or comment.
That made me so mad where this entire newsroom is going way out of their way to help this 10-year-old. And mom shows up and they're late or something. And she's like, I had a dinner, bed, bath time routine to get to. How dare you? Because they were late. I was like, you are out of line, ma'am.
She's really inconvenienced by this major opportunity for this child.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was weird. But that means BJ Britt's character, Adam, sees her and has a little encounter. He has to apologize to her because he was the reason they were late. But also, there's some sparks flying a little bit, at least on his side.
I think so. Sparks certainly be sparking. And her colleagues at the salon are definitely giving her a hard time because he has to swoop by. At one point, he winds up picking her son up and dropping her off.
She was all against it until she needed somebody to watch her son because she had to do a hair appointment.
Relatable, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Presumably, he's a public figure. I don't know. Does that mean he's background checked? I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest.
News anchors would never do anything nefarious, as we know.
Just saying. It's a little bit
honest Abes to be around.
It's a little bit of an odd scenario. I don't honestly know that would ever happen.
Well, okay, also, he just seems to have a lot of time on his hands for a news
Nothing but
anchor.
time.
I feel like the whole time I was in news, I just ran places, and this guy's
no
just,
show prep.
I mean,
he's not prepping any stories. He's not looking into anything else. He just shows up and reads the teleprompter and jets. But I feel like there's probably more to it than that usually in news. Not to speak for you all.
Definitely more to it. I mean, presumably they have one newscast, which is also kind of laughable because these days anchors are doing multiple newscasts. They're doing streaming channels. They're doing social media. They're doing interviews. They're gathering there's no time.
God help us if there's a weather issue, if there's a storm coming through. My gosh, all hands are on deck. I don't care if you're a meteorologist or not. You're standing at the desk. I've seen plenty of people filling in during a storm in Nashville.
Honestly, are probably the wrong people to critique this movie because it's just, I mean, you can't not be pointing out all the little bitty things. But to me, this movie was made last year, right?
It's brand new, so it was just made, yes.
So nobody's posting on social media. So he's wrapping gifts for children. He's helping out this 10-year-old. We are missing some hashtag content opportunities, I mean, no wonder he has a problem with the ratings or whatever.
Right. There's nothing happening. There's no relatability happening. And also, one of Lucy's other comments is he needs to wear more colorful suits because he just kind of wears the same dark and dreary thing, bland all the time. She takes her son, Robbie, to, JCPenney's or Dillard's or whatever, what have you, Joseph A. Banks, however much money they have, and
on
to
a
get him a
hairdresser
new
salary.
suit. Right. As a single mom with a big house on a hairdresser salary. And gets him a new suit, but who pops out of the other dressing room? It's Adam, because he's going with like a still kind of muted, but like a little bit of a magenta something situation. And there was another
Like a
chance to
mauve.
run into
Yeah.
him.
Mhm.
It was a mauve, yes. He looked great. But it was, again, like nobody's ever told him, hey, let's not just wear black and navy all the time. She's the one with the vision.
Well, that was another criticism of mine where it's like, Josh, how many emails did you get? Or how much criticism did you like? I had one time had a man message me to tell me that my eyebrows were too dark, and he is rattled by this 10-year-old and their mom. But I don't know.
No
Got to get
way.
a thick skin. Oh, the emails I got about might need to size up that jacket because you're looking a little chunky on TV. I mean, it was a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, Jennifer, you would not believe the gall of some local news viewers. I mean, they literally think that they have a right and it is their place and it is their civic duty to tell their local news people that they have issues that they don't like.
But you don't listen to that or feel affected
You
by
have
it.
to have a thick skin. Yes, you got to have a thick skin.
I don't like that.
And
but I mean, also, we
it's
have a podcast where we're critiquing movies, but we don't critique them on their physical appearance. We
It's
don't
different.
critique the physical appearance. Yeah, it's different. But I do see, like, where do we
Yeah.
get off saying anything, right? We've never made a movie.
Right.
I know. Well, and 'cause I was
So-
thinking, I mean, I feel like with local news audiences, they would kind of develop a parasocial relationship probably with the local news anchors because that's their community. If they are loyal viewers, even if it's hate watching, they want to tell you if
Yeah.
your eyebrows are out of whack. It's, guys, don't be
Every
rude.
And they
time.
were.
Don't be rude.
They were. He was right.
No, I do not stand by this. Okay, moving on. So, yeah, they're
So-
really all hitting it off like peas and carrots. And then Robbie's kind of not in the movie as much. Do we feel like
No,
Robbie kind of got moved to the side about halfway through?
that's exactly what happened because all of a sudden, BJ Britt's character, Adam, is like, maybe he's right. Maybe we do need a little bit more good news and maybe there's a place for that. So he really sets about trying to find these good news stories. And so he finds one at a bakery and he finds one with a woman who donates all kinds of presents and all this other sort of stuff. And then he finds one with this art teacher who decorates trees in a park every year for his long lost love. I thought this was I liked that aspect of it, especially when later on, spoiler alert, he finds the woman that this whole grand gesture was for and reconnects them on television. It's one of those where it's not produced at all like a local news story would be. And he's definitely interviewing people as if he's live when he's certainly not doing anything live. It's one of those where it's just a little awkward.
Well,
Yeah, there's
my
that scene
simpleton mind
too.
didn't pick up on that necessarily, so I'll be the ignorant viewer in that regard. But it was interesting. It was like BJ Britt as a news anchor was a doe learning to walk, in that he'd never heard a good news story. What is this world? People are doing good things just because? But it's not that he was a Scrooge. That's like, I feel like if they went with that perception, he should have been more hard-nosed and he should have been about the business and the ratings and all that. He was just like a normal guy. It wasn't that he was Scroogey. They just kind of made him aloof to good news.
There
Right?
was a line in
That's
the
well
movie
said.
where he called his mentor or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, in your career, have you ever pushed back on a producer?" And I was like, "Sir, is this your first day? That's all we do."
And she's like, I did it once
Yeah,
or
well,
twice,
yeah.
but only when I felt like I had to. Yeah. When I tell you, Jennifer, that sometimes it's a daily occurrence to push back on a producer because you're literally begging for an extra 10 seconds for your story. That's really what it can boil
Okay.
down to.
Dog
Yeah,
eat dog
so
world and
it's-
news.
that's part of the
Well,
business.
he
It
really
is.
he did the first story about the charity, what was the sponsorship group? What was it called? Thrivant? No.
Something like Angels or something. Yeah, Thrivant.
I know, but it was a sponsorship thing.
Thrivant. Yeah,
That sounds
Thrivant.
Thrivant. I was like, Thrivant's, I think, a gum. And once he did that, then he took it up the reins or up, the flagpole at the news. They were not going to run it. He pushed to run it anyways. And the production room goes wild. Now, did that ever happen in y'all's, experience?
He went off script and went off prompter. And that's something that I have never experienced in my local news career. Have you ever experienced that, Carly?
Well, but the thing is he just decides he's going to go off script, right? And then somehow magically this pre-cut story runs.
Right.
Like
he must have had an insider friend in the production room that just like pushed
multiple people were in on this. Yeah. And this made this hard for me to watch because I'm like, no.
Would not happen.
Well, he got it on the air and the producer is like, you need to take some time away. Okay, you're taking a leave of absence. Now, I don't know who filled in for him. We didn't see that. I wish it had been like another Hallmark star cameo. Like I wish like Brendan Penny or somebody would have shown up and like that. Yeah. Just to take over and fill in. And then they get jealous when he comes back. But because inevitably he does come back, right? I mean, they run it. The producer's all stressed, but it's a big hit, and it's really doing well with the ratings. It's garnering the attention of News in Chicago, who's maybe going to poach him, and they're like, hey, you got it, kid. So it went off like gangbusters, and then he gets to come back to the news anchor desk shortly, like a whiff after he was put on leave.
Exactly. And in the meantime, while he had a day off, he goes over and he's flirting more with Lucy and more present in Robbie's life. And they do, the typical Christmas things, and they decorate his apartment because, of course, doesn't have any feelings and doesn't decorate for the holiday because he's just all about getting to Chicago. Exactly.
Yeah. But then throughout all this, he does get in touch with his feelings. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, the Christmas tree farm, like, all the men were dressed so nicely in the house. I, loved all the decor. And the sorry, I interrupted, though.
No, you're fine.
No, you're good. And then at some point, he's kind of walking and talking with Lucy because he goes to this, Josh alluded to, wasn't it like the 12 days of Christmas? Like, there were 12 trees that this man had set up to get back into this woman's life, his long lost love. Well, he takes her to the scene of that at night. It is beautiful. I loved all of that. Worked for me. I loved that BJ Britt organizes, that the man reunites with his long lost love. All that was great, but they're learning more about each other. And he's talking about how he has not been home for Christmas in many moons. He always works at Christmas, right? Somebody's got to report the news. Well, then he ends up like, this year, I'm going to go home for Christmas. I guess it was maybe Christmas Eve or I don't know. It's the big family Christmas party. He just shows up with her as a date when they haven't even been on a real date yet. But sure, get dressed up and let's go. And his family is very surprised to see him. And I guess they're happy. I thought that was a little bit of an odd encounter. They're like, we understand that you're usually working, but good to see you. I don't know. It just felt a little off.
Lacked a little warmth.
Yeah. But then on the way out, somehow, I don't remember how, because I didn't take notes, I'm sorry. The beans get spilled that he's interested in this job in Chicago. And Lucy finds out and she's like, is this what you've been doing? You've been doing all these good news stories. You gave my son an internship, just to build your portfolio and your resume to get this promotion. And he's like, no. I mean, that started it a little bit. That was kind of a thing in the beginning, right? Like, do news anchors have, like, in sports, which for me to talk about sports is a big deal, like, they have their highlight reels. Do you all have, like, highlight reels of your best newscasts? Help me. Like,
1,000%, but these stories would have been the opposite of that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, every person in TV has a save tape, and that's where you're saving your best live shots, your best stories, the best kind of work that you put together so that you can potentially show that to someone in a bigger market or some place where you want to go, that kind of thing. So for sure, but, the prospect of Chicago being very excited about this good news turn for his career is a little far flung for me. It's not how that would work at all. But
It reminded me of peak, like very beginning 2020 COVID lockdown, and John Krasinski had the Good News Daily or whatever on Facebook, and the whole country went bananas because it's just what we needed. We needed the good news thing, and then that was great for like a week, and then I feel like everybody was kind of like, yeah, okay, we're over. Like, it didn't really stick as much as like all the real world stuff that was happening, So I guess that makes sense. But anyway, so Lucy's a little upset, and what's going to happen to him next? Let's find out.
So Adam winds up, he gets a call. And where was he when he got this call? He was with her, right?
I thought it was when they were leaving his parents' house.
Yes. And that's when, like you said, everything kind of gets blown up. And so she's a little bit upset, and he is going to go to Chicago for an interview.
At like a company party or something? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And Robbie, has a school performance the next day. And throughout this entire movie, presumably, Robbie and Adam have been working on something special that they're going to do at the Christmas pageant at school. And so now we're at the Christmas pageant, and everything goes off without a hitch, I should say. The songs are sung, everything's lovely, and awkwardly, I thought, here comes BJ Britt as Adam, and he busts from the side, and he's like, hey, show's not over, I'm here. And I'm on my couch wondering, like, what if you don't watch his station? And all of a sudden you're like, who is this random guy, like, showing up? Like,
but that's what I thought. It was very on, like, he did it. He was on brand, because it's like, yeah, there are a lot of big egos, and like,
yeah, he is probably just assumed everybody knew who Adam was. Yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking about the other parents in the crowd who were like, we've seen all the songs, like, we need to get home. Like, what is happening? End this now. You're just gonna steal the Christmas pageant and turn it into some
basically
weird
what happened.
News interview. It was so
weird.
So
Adam basically hijacks the entire end of the Christmas pageant. What results is that Robbie and Adam sit down for a heartfelt one-on-one interview situation, and I'm with Carly, like,
inside jokes and things,
right?
Which everybody's been clamoring for. Yeah.
Yes. No one.
Like when we got to sit down with Tyler Hines and do a fireside chat, it was like that, except it was Adam and Robbie.
Exactly. Nobody knew. Little fireside chat. And anyway, they finish it. It goes off successfully. The crowd loves it. Everybody sort of scoots away, and all of a sudden the theater's totally empty. Empty so that basically we can have BJ Britt and Tamera Mowry-Housley finally, yeah, exactly. And they profess their love for one another, and they smooch, and Robbie's like peering from the side curtain, and he's like all excited that presumably his new stepdad is going to be the big hotshot anchor in town.
He's got an in.
He's got an in.
Yeah, because he's not going to move, right? He's not moving. He's turned down the job, I guess. He's going to stay at News Local, and they'll live happily ever. Okay.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's time for Golden Cole.
All right, it is time for a supersized edition of Golder Coal, because we've got 3 co-hosts, so that means 9 gifts in all. If there's more gold in this one, we're going to call it a rating success. If there's more coal, we're going to call it hash marks. And if you're new to the world of ratings, hash marks means ain't nobody watching.
Oh.
Period. So there you go. Jennifer, I'm coming to you first. What do you got? Hit me with your first gift.
My first gift is coal. And I kind of already talked about it. I did not really understand. I feel like they should have gone more into this BJ Britt Adam character of being like a negative Nancy or super uptight or super, this is the way the news should be. Kind of like I said, he was just like a normal guy reporting the news. And so it wasn't that big of a transformation or far-fetched for me to see him report the good news and change his outfit and really, be connected to this kid and his mom. Like, that wasn't that big of a jump. And I guess it wasn't supposed to be, but I kind of wish it had been more of a transformation. That's what we usually expect. So, Cole.
Okay. I can see that. Carly, coming to you. What do you got? First gift.
I'll start with gold for the child acting. I just loved this kid. He was so cute, and I thought his acting was on point, and the whole time I was like, he's gonna grow up to be so fabulous and probably my best friend. Loved him.
Yeah. He was precious. I'm
I
looking up his
agree.
name right now in the background, whoever played Robbie. Elijah Justice Lewis played Robbie. Yeah, he's going
He was
places.
great.
He has
He is going
all
places.
of it. Yes.
Very charismatic. He should be on Finding Mr.
Yes.
Christmas this season. He would be the big winner in my book. Anyway.
Stay tuned for
Not
our
showing my
hot takes on
cards.
Finding Mr. Christmas. we are talking about it every weekly episode, so there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Spoiler alert, I also forgot to watch that episode too because I clearly lost touch with reality. Guys,
been
Jennifer,
a
give
week.
yourself a break. Give yourself a
been a
something is
week.
wrong with me. I guess. But I did get my
You know
my
what it is?
downstairs is decorated for Christmas. Okay. I've actually been like
Yes.
doing real Christmas in my house. And now I'm like, shoot.
You know what it is? Here's what it is, Jennifer. You are
An
just
aneurysm?
No,
Mm.
you are just so excited for the debut of A Grand Ole Opry Christmas because this is your shining moment, right?
That's true.
As you know, Carly,
less
I
than
don't
a
know
week
if you knew
away.
this or not, but Jennifer has, dare I say it, a seismic role in A Grand Ole Opry Christmas. I'm shocked
I
she
was on
didn't make
set.
the poster.
I
You're
was on
shocked she didn't
set.
make the what?
She's an extra.
No. I was
That's
a seat filler
amazing.
in the Grand Ole Opry House is what I was.
Stop.
You're going to
but-
be the most extra there ever was.
Absolutely.
I tried my darndest. I did. So it premieres the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so like less than a week away, just a few short days. Don't you know every time they post a clip, I'm like pausing it to see if I can see my red sweater. Haven't seen it
See,
yet.
and that's what I'm saying. The anxiety and the stress around that moment in your acting career
It's understandable.
is why you're a little bit off this week. And so we're going to, this is a
Sorry.
place
I'm
of
sorry.
grace. This is a place of
Place
grace. And
Thank
so
you. Thank you.
I will start my gift giving with some coal. This movie could have desperately benefited from a B-mop. We needed to see some kind of actual news, right? It would have been really good to see Adam actually doing something that looked like journalism.
Outside of a
news
building that's on
gathering.
fire and it like attacks him.
Exactly.
And maybe he's like
we needed
calamity.
something. Yeah, because I needed something that would have made me a little bit more invested in his character. And I think, like you said, Jennifer, I would have really loved a bit more of his backstory. Like, how did he get to this place? What was that relationship like with his family? That seemed like a little bit of a missed opportunity. We could have fleshed that out a little bit more. The whole 9 yards. I wanted more in terms of the news element and what that meant for him. So I'll start with Cole. All right, back to you, Jennifer, your second gift.
I will give gold in that this movie was just really sweet. Does it have its flaws? Yes, as we have talked about and we'll talk about more. But I think at the end of the day, I did enjoy watching it. Now, will I seek it out every year? Maybe not. But I like who's involved. I like the kid. And it just it did make me happy to see the good news in a very saccharine sort of way. And like the scene with the old man and the 12 trees and all that, I thought, yes, it's cheesy, but I was here for the cheese. I enjoyed it.
I agree. Carly, your next one.
I'll go for Cole, and I think I'm sort of echoing some of the things that you all have already said, but it just was so unrealistic in terms of news, and the newsy in me couldn't handle it. And I just feel like, the part about, oh, you should tell some good news. That's so overdone. And then everything else from the makeup to the way the studio and the show looked, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
That makes perfect
Understandable.
sense.
Misrepresenting the way news is.
I'm going to give gold. I thought these two leads were great. I liked them together as a couple. I thought they were super believable. He is believable as a news anchor. She's believable, as we talked about. She kind of starting to feel a little pigeonholed for her as a single mom, trying to find love after a couple failed relationships. But at the same time, I think she does a really good job of playing a mom. We got to see that a couple of times in this movie. She really portrays the emotion of motherhood, I think, really well. There was a scene where she was sitting on the step with Robbie after BJ Britt's character had gone off to Chicago, and they were like, we're never going to see him again. She was trying to sort of tell Robbie, like, this is just a season and people come into our lives for a season, all that sort of stuff. And she actually, her cry count went up, and
Yeah.
it felt very realistic in terms of a conversation that a mom would have in that kind of situation with her son, who quite clearly loved the guy who was now potentially not going to be in the picture anymore. So I like that for that reason. Gold.
I took notes on that scene because the lecture was like, sometimes men are like trees and they come and they go. Anyway.
Well,
put it on a Hallmark card.
Kirkland's wisdom, as we like to say here on the pod.
Yes.
All right. The score, by the way, is tied 3-3. So, Jennifer, your last gift.
No. Okay. I'm gonna give Cole this movie. I was really into it in the beginning. I thought it was really fun and cute in the beginning. It dragged for me in like the last third, when I feel like we should be upticking the energy to kind of get across the finish line. It just basically came to a screeching halt. Like, the more good news he did, it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, we get it. More good news. Yeah, okay. But like, for what's the payoff? And so I don't know. I lost interest a little bit about the third of it. Sorry.
Yep. Carly, your last gift.
Same. It was a Cole for me, and for the same reasons. I wrote down that, there were so many times throughout the bulk of this movie that I looked down at my phone. I'm like, how do we have 50 minutes left? How do we have 40 minutes left? How do we have 35 minutes left? And then there was some drama. And when the drama happened, I looked and there were like 6 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what? Anyway, yeah, same girl.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to be Cole for me for that same reason. This movie just felt very sleepy to me at points. And,
Mhm.
I was thinking what would have made it even better for me is if he took the job in Chicago and we saw him in Chicago and he had this moment where he realized how unhappy he was because of what he had it. I think we needed to see that contrast a little bit more. And I think that would have upped the stakes a little bit more to get him to Chicago a little bit earlier. They try maybe doing the distance thing. He FaceTimes with Robbie, something like that, and then ultimately has this moment where he realizes that that's what I would have done. So at the end of the day, we had 6 pieces of coal, just 3 pieces of gold, and we're going to call it hash marks. Not necessarily one of our favorite movies for this season. Jennifer, Carly, is there anything for you guys that would have made this a better flick for you?
I'm looking at you, Jennifer.
Well, I just think, with BJ Britt and Tamera Mowry-Housley, they can be powerhouses. They are so charismatic. And I just feel like when you said it was sleepy, that's exactly what I thought. It was sleepier than I feel like they should have been. And I guess that was a writing, or I don't know where it came from, but just it was like we took these powerhouses and then turned them down and made the movie with it. I wish they could have been like more full tilt who we've seen them to be in other movies before, because I know they can do it. So I was a little disappointed in that regard. My expectations were high. We don't have a lot of movies with the characters, the leading actors, having any diversity this season. This is one of the few. And so I was really hoping I would love it, mainly for that reason, to see them together and to have some diversity on this channel that's like a knockout. And I just don't feel like this was the best movie for them, and it bums me out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm a fair critic. I think any Hallmark movie where they try to do news, I'm going to be highly, highly critical. And so I don't think it's fair for me to even say.
Rightly so.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, we would love your thoughts, dear listener. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Let us know in the comment section below. And Carly, thank you so much for joining us again here on the podcast. This was just a delight, and you are just so much fun, and we appreciate you and your loyal friendship.
No, thank you. The pleasure was all mine. I am positively giddy to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Anytime. And that, dear friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
That's right. Special thanks as always to Nick Schwartz for our theme song, who, by the way, the song he produced, Joy to Your World by Mickey Guyton and Drew Baldridge are singing it. They're using it on more promos on the Hallmark Channel, and I just get so happy every time I hear it. It's such a good song, and yes, I'm biased, but I don't care. I guess I'm saying I don't care because it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So we've known Nick's a rock star. Yeah.
Now the world will know. Yeah, and you're going to hear it Thursday on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, too, which I'm super excited about. I mean, that's such a cool moment. And Carly, you'll love this. The best thing is when you look on Spotify at the credits, he's listed as a producer. And he mentioned this when we interviewed him, Carly, but his son actually sang some of the background vocals. And how old's his son, Jennifer?
He's
4 or 5.
Yeah.
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 And so the son is listed in the credits as background vocals. I just think that's like the sweetest thing. I love that. So
cool.
That's
great guy,
so
great
cute.
family, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So thank you all for being here and watching. And let's see if I can pull up our spreadsheet and actually find out what we're talking about next. Fill for time, Josh. Fill for time. What else can they?
Yeah.
We've got Finding Mr. Christmas content coming out every week. We've had Nick's wife, Christina. I did a 3-hour podcast with her talking about Gilmore Girls because the Hallmark Channel is showing it now. So I had split it up into 2 parts. If you want to check that out, I wouldn't hate you for it. Next time, Josh will be leading and watching this movie as my color-coded chart dictates. And it's the movie, Hallmark's putting all their eggs in this basket. It's coming out Thanksgiving night. It's called We Met in December, and here's the plot summary. Annie Lane and Dave Weeks meet in a holiday hotel, falling in love. They embark on separate quests to find each other, sharing wisdom and making significant life changes. We will have much to discuss, but until then,
May your days be merry and bright. We'll see you soon.